Hey. Assalamu Alaikum. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu rasulullah wa ba'd. In the name of Allah and the peace and blessing of Allah be upon us, last and final messenger, family, friends, foes, haters, and haters. Welcome back like crack, baby, to the features of greet you all in peace and love and no hatred of my heart. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we got a hell of haters up in this piece. Late night on a Thursday night, fam. Late night on a Thursday night. And we had a totally different subject planned out for Thursday. But this brother, Jake, right? He ended up on my feed, right? And I must admit, like, I'm kind of warming up to the guy. But again, he is a career YouTuber, so we kind of like move with caution. Okay, we moved with caution. But to be out of all the YouTubers, like the career YouTubers that we've seen, he is the only one that I've seen, as far as I know. Right, there might be others, but as far as I know, right, because we ain't career YouTubers over here. We're like, you know how it is over on this side. We are the Black Muslim grassroots, and we ain't about the selling out and the shucking and jiving and twitching and twirling and twerking and stuff. We ain't doing that. We ain't about that life. We ain't about that life, okay? But as far as I know, maybe y'all know better than me. Maybe y'all know better than me. He's the only one that's been calling out the nonsense that these YouTubians are doing with these kafirs, because they say they whisper sweet nothings to the Muslims' ears and stuff. These white supremacist kafirs, these white supremacist, devils, these demons. All they got to do is say something about Palestine or whatever, and Muslims are the ones who are spreading this stuff out. Get me? Yeah, Jake Brent can tell us not showing his tail yet. That's what I'm saying, right? He hasn't shown his tail yet, so there may be hope. There may be hope in the YouTube sphere. I don't know. I do not know. Okay, but I was watching this thing that he put out, and I was like, it was pretty entertaining. I won't lie. Okay, so my day ones, y'all know. We talked about Jake Shields before, more than once actually, and how the YouTubians they insist on inviting white supremacists to their channels. One of them was Jake Shields. He was on 5 Pillars in them. Okay, and we blasted him for it. We let him have it. Okay, we let him have it for not just 5 Pillars, but all your YouTubians, like your Eddie from the Dean shows, your 5 Pillars, your 3 Muslims, all these folks that insist on standing up for white supremacy and insisting that these are the allies of the Muslims. White supremacists. White supremacists are allies of the Muslims. They insist on that. They out here talking about Candace Owens. Candace Owens is we got to make an excuse for Candace. All kind of craziness, madness, absolute madness going on. Okay, so before we get on, I'm going to show you something that Jake Shields said a while back, right? So just hold on. I think we mentioned this on the channel as well. It's him and Myron. You know Myron already. He's an avid white supremacist. He calls himself a white supremacist. Myron calls himself. He wishes that he wishes that the KKK would let him in. He says all the kind of stuff. Muslims are inviting him to his channel and stuff going on. having him, you know, moderate debates and all kind of crap. This is degenerate. So anyway, let's watch this, y'all. I found this clip. 1 second. Let me just share it with y'all. 1 second, family. Oh, let the dustiness begin. Let me just close this thing down here. 1 second, family. All right, y'all. Actually, you know what? Let me just move this over here. That'll be better. Okay. And then, do you mean Myron Gaines? I mean Amaru Fuddle. Do you mean Myron Gaines? I mean Amaru Fuddle. That's who I mean. I mean Amaru Fuddle. Okay. Amaru Fuddle's out here talking about he wish he'd be part of the KKK. Nick Fuentes is out here calling him a black Nazi and all kind of stuff. Nick Fuentes, okay? But I digress. Watch this, y'all. Now watch this, family. There are many more clips in this this little short video, but this is the main one I want y'all to see.
To every single thing they said so far.
Let's be real here, bro. These fucking idiots, racism, blah, blah, blah. Racism is good. I'll tell you why. Racism, sexism, etc. If you're sexist, well, you believe women should be protected and provided for. You're a gentleman, you're chivalrous. That is by definition being sexist because you're giving her different treatment based on her sex. Racism, let's be honest here, every single person is racist.
I've never,
to a degree.
I would say every intelligent man. Some girls are dumb and they don't believe it. I've never met an intelligent man that's not racist.
So I want you guys to process what.
Yeah, did y'all hear what he just said? That's Jake Shields, y'all. In case you missed it, let me just rewind it one more again. Right? So y'all can catch it. Did you catch what he just said? Turn up the volume. 1 second.
I'll tell you why.
Racism. Because what they're going to say right now is contradicting to every single thing they said so far.
So, Amaru Fuddle, okay? Mind you, he's out here pretending that, he wants to have Islamic debates and stuff, and when it suits him, he's out there with Sneeko wearing a thobe in Dubai and stuff. You get me? Now, the only good thing about Amaru Fuddle is that he never claims to be a good Muslim. That's the only good thing. Okay. And that's it. That's it. But he is the epitome of sellout. If sellout was a person, it would be Amaru Fuddle, Myron Gaines. Okay? He never said a single thing to stand up for his own people in Sudan. He's always in black folks' business. He come and changed his name from Amaru Fuddle, right? Arabic Muslim name, to Myron Gaines, having pictures with himself, with Zaddy and them in the bed and all kind of stuff, all this kind of, I'm just saying. The fruitcake stuff, it's for everybody to see. Y'all hearing me? He run around on YouTube with Sneeko, mind you, with KKK hoods on, doing Nazi symbols and all kind of stuff. And now he's out here talking about racism is good. He's out here talking about racism is good. But watch what Jake Shields say after that, okay? Mind you, these folks are the ones that YouTubian elites are pushing today.
Let's be real here, bro. These fucking idiots, racism, blah, blah, blah. Racism is good. I'll tell you why. Racism, sexism, etc. If you're sexist, well, you believe women should be protected and provided for. You're a gentleman, you're chivalrous. That is by definition being sexist because you're giving her different treatment based on her sex. Racism, let's be honest here, every single person is racist.
I've never,
to a degree.
I would say every intelligent man. Some girls are dumb and they don't believe it. I've never met an intelligent man that's not racist.
So I want you guys to process what's happening.
He just said I never met an intelligent man who's not racist. Jake Shields, family. He ain't ever met an intelligent man who's not racist. So there's a lot of implications to this, okay? Remember, Jake Shields, he fought in Bellator, he fought in Strike Force, and he fought in the UFC. And he was, at one point in time, I believe it was the Bellator champion. Bellator or Strike Force, one of those two. Okay? So all those folks who are writing his checks, they got to be intelligent men, right? So he's alluding that these men who are his bosses are racist. He's alluding that anybody that trained him is a racist. He's alluding that his teachers, if he went to school, they're all racist. And by default, his company, because he will, obviously he sees him as an intelligent person, his company is a racist company. That is the implication here. You get me? That's the implication. So now, we already talked about Jake Shields, right? We talked with my day ones, they know. Press number 1 in the chat if you see our whatchamacallit, what we said about Jake Shields and your YouTubian elites and how they always pushing these races like that. Okay? Number 1 in the chat. If you've seen all that stuff already. Okay, so now we are going to watch what the Muslim metaphysician got to say. Okay? Jake Brancatella, I think his name, Jake Brancatella. Let's watch what he got to say. Okay, we're going to do a live reaction now, family. This is a live reaction. Okay? Okay. See? Live reaction, family. Okay, let's get this set up, y'all. See, people know. You know, you're like, we've been talking about this for. We are the. Pardon me. I believe the first people to ever mention this. And as far as I know, the only other Muslim on YouTube to this point to mention this just happens to be Jake. Now we're going to listen to what he got to say. If anybody else knows anybody else saying something, let me know. But I don't know a single person other than the Feachaz that explicitly mentioned this. And now Jake is about to mention something. Okay, ready? Watch this, y'all.
You're not principled. You have no morals whatsoever, and we don't need any support from you. The hell with you. That's what we say. The hell with you and the people just like you, Jake Shields. We don't want your support. And Muslims that are still supporting this loser after this should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm sorry, man. All I gotta say is about damn time. That's all I gotta say, man. It's about damn time. Okay? But I digress. Let's keep watching, y'all. Let's keep watching.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Jake, the Muslim metaphysician. And today, again, we have another exciting episode for some of you out there, but also a disappointing episode for others out there. We have to expose more what I'd like to call pro-Palestinian grifters. These are people who are not really principled in their morality. They don't really care about innocent life. They're just trying to attack Israel because they either hate Jews, they don't don't like Jews, or for some political reason, whatever it may be. There are many different reasons. I don't want to put all of these people in the same basket, but they hate Israel, or they want to come across as if they're defending Palestine and the Palestinian people just because they hate Israel or they hate Jews or some other political reason. It's not because innocent Muslim life or even innocent Palestinian life in general is being taken away. They don't really truly care about that in a principled manner. Because if they had, they would not be having the stance that they do in Syria today. So Syria is the new litmus test. It's exposing many of these grifters for the unprincipled losers that they actually are. But we have to expose a couple more, and they're coming out as we go along. Here we're going to expose one today, which is a guy by the name of Jake Shields. Many people may have seen him, especially.
Now, one of the things that we mentioned about the Palestinian grift, right? One of the things that we mentioned is that the reason why you're finding this separation from white supremacists, because there's a white supremacist, we said this so many times, there's white supremacists that's pro-Zionist and there are white supremacists that are anti-Zionist. Both of them are white supremacists. Okay? Both of them are white supremacists. And this ideology goes way back, long before even Israel was even formed, because Europeans have a long history of issues with European Jews, going back way. If all you have to do is look at the Crusades, what they did in the Crusades. Look at the what they did in Russia. What are those people called? The Bolsheviks and whatnot. Look at what's happened. Even the pre-Zionist movement, all this kind of stuff. Look at the Spanish Inquisition, a long history. Because the whatchamacallit, the European Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, when they ended up in Europe, they did all kinds of craziness. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, Ben Gurion, when he's trying to push the idea of Zionism, mind you, Ben Gurion, he himself is not a religious Jew. He's a total atheist. Okay, right? But he understood that he can galvanize the people based upon religion. And it's just a means to a goal. So you have this movement that was supported in Christian Europe to have Jews have their own country of their own. So there's a lot of history behind this, right? So now what you find is because your immigrant Muslims, especially your immigrant Muslims, they really want to be close to whiteness. They really work hard to be close to whiteness. Okay, they really work hard to get into close proximity to the white power structure, and they are willing. They would even sell their own mothers to get close to this. So for them, it's no issue to side with people who have zero love for them whatsoever, and then try to Islamify it afterwards. And this is exactly what your YouTubian Dawa elites, this is what they do. Starting with Daniel Hikikuchu. He's the first person to do it. He was the first person to openly advocate for white supremacists, this white supremacist Muslim alliance. And he even made an entire blog spot about it years ago. We put this out on the Feachaz, right? And when we, the Black Muslim grassroots, say you cannot unite with these people, these are the open enemies of Allah on earth. There's no ideology in human history that I can think of that is more wicked and evil than white supremacy. Just name one, okay? Name one ideology that has murdered more people, caused the hardship for more countries on the planet, enslaved more people on their own land than white supremacy. You can't. Not a single one. But they will twist the entire religion to pigeonhole white supremacists in it. It's like twisting the entire religion to accommodate Pharaoh. And Pharaoh ain't got nothing on these white supremacists. Okay. Let's just keep it a buck today. Pharaoh ain't got nothing on these white supremacists. So these folks now, they, as we predicted time and time again, you know, they always end up eating the fecal matter of what they crapped out. All on their lonesome. And we have not seen not a single one of them, not one, call this stuff out until just now. Okay, until this brother Jake. All right, so let's keep watching, y'all. That's my little monologue. Let's keep watching, y'all.
Especially on Twitter, he has increased his popularity tenfold, or maybe more than that, over the recent events that have taken place in Palestine. And he has come across as if he's, you know, supporting the Palestinian people and on the right side of history. And I can't negate any of the stuff he did when it comes to that. However, he's being exposed as not a principled person. He's not actually defending Palestine and the Palestinian people for the right reasons. And that is clear based on his position in Syria. Now, I have to say this, and some Muslims that I consider my own friends have interviewed this guy, have given him more exposure to the Muslim community, have befriended him, you know, seemed buddy-buddy with him on camera and things of that nature, follow him on Twitter, share a lot of his posts. And I have to say, you guys were wrong. I love some of you guys out there, but you guys were just straight up wrong about this guy, Jake Shields, thinking that he was maybe becoming closer to Islam, even considering Islam, or at the very least was truly a principled man standing up for Palestine and the Palestinian people for all the right reasons. That's clearly not the case, guys. I'm sorry to have to break it to you. Still love you, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's take a look at the evidence of this. So here's Jake Shields, right? Here's a post from just a couple days ago, and he says, I haven't been closely following what is happening in Syria, but this is who is likely to take over. And it's by the Jerusalem Post, Israel aiding Al-Qaeda linked terrorist. And this is an article from 2017, right? He's posting something from the Jerusalem Post from 2017 and admits that he hasn't been following what's going on closely, but yet he's able to take such harsh stances in the way that he is. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The guy, and people think he's like doing some type of good quasi-journalism and stuff. I mean, it's just a joke. But anyway, let's go to the...
Full disclosure, Jake Shields is about like 6 or 7 brain cells short of being legally retarded. Okay? Let's just keep it a buck today. Jake Shields, if he smokes about 5 or 6 more blunts, he may be legally retarded. Let's keep it a buck. I don't understand why Muslims would platform Jake Shields. It don't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's like me today, the Feachaz, right? Inviting TD Jakes on his channel to talk about, you know, why we should believe in God and stuff. Can you imagine, as articulate, and TD Jakes is pretty smart, he's pretty articulate, he's an amazing speaker. He's an amazing speaker. The only reason why people listen to Jake Shields is not because he can barely string a sentence together in the English language. It's not because of that. It's because he is a high-profile MMA fighter. He fought the best in the world, and that's it. That don't mean that he should be speaking on geopolitics. And this is what social media has done. Social media, any idiot can get on social media and put their opinion on anything. And let them have some white supremacist tendencies and be an MMA fighter and be a rapistan. They will be on Muslim social media so fast if they start talking about Palestine and stuff. Who's the new one now? Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian is the new lick now that Muslims are sharing all over the place. But anyways, I digress. Let's keep watching, yo.
The next piece of evidence here. Here, Jake Shields is quoting Mike Knowles, no friend of us, where he says, "Can someone explain to me why we're supposed to celebrate Bashar al-Assad's replacement by a member of Al-Qaeda?" He says, "Can somebody please explain to me why we should be celebrating the overthrowing of a tyrant like Bashar al-Assad," right? So Jake Shields tweets that, and he says, "Because Israel and Al-Qaeda work together. They armed them and even treated their soldiers in Israeli hospitals. Ask too many questions and you will get the Candace Owens treatment." Candace Owens has now been, or at least she should be excommunicated from the truly pro-Palestinian front because she has said, oh no, she's, doing this sensationalism and spreading propaganda that all Christians in Syria are going to be slaughtered en masse. And we'll see that that's hopefully inshallah.
This is what Jake means, that Syria is the litmus test for these grifters. Because they came out so hard against the Zionists in Israel, but they're out here running defense with Bashar al-Assad. My, have the mighty have fallen. Let me just show you know what? Let me just show y'all something, okay? 1 second. Let me just switch this up here, family. Y'all are tripping. Let me see the thumbs up in the chat if you think your YouTubian elites are tripping. Okay? If they are tripping, let me see the thumbs up in the chat, please. One second, family. Let me just pull this up here for you. One second. Let's see here. Now remember, for how many years we started, Dan Hickey-Kuchu, he's pandering to the alt-right. Then he is the alt-right. And then he's just an alt-right white supremacist. He's not even hiding. Okay? He's not even trying to hide. Okay? We did this donkey years ago. Okay? And then finally this year, he decided to come out the closet. Like RuPaul and them. Okay? Remember, he came out the closet with a bang? Look at here. Look what he said. This is Daniel Hakikuju, okay? Remember, we put this out when he sent it out anyways, right? And we had an entire live about this and everything, okay? So he says, who are the right-wingers, okay, who collectively have reached millions over the past 10 months with anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian activism? Here is a quick list. Number 1, Candace Owens. Number 1 is Candace Owens, family. How did that turn out? How did that turn out? Number 2, Andrew Tristan Tate. How did that turn out? Oh, you brownies out there in Britain got real mad at Andrew Tate a couple of months ago, didn't y'all? you got really upset when he's talking about sending you back to your country where you came from and stuff, right? Keith Woods. I think something recently happened with this Keith Woods person. I can't remember. Jake Shields. How did that turn out? This is Daniel Hakikuchu's Lift family. One by one, in a very predictable manner. All his zaddies are getting their skirts yanked up. Stu Peters. I don't know anything about Stu Peters. Maybe y'all can tell me something about him. But we know that he's a white supremacist because, you know, Daniel Hakikuchu likes him. Nick Fuentes. How did that turn out, family? Nick Fuentes. All over the internet right now with some gay, Corning. Videos upon videos of himself being exposed in some sword fight action. This is crazy, man. Lucas Cage, was that the guy who was talking about just now? Lucas Cage? I can't remember. Let me just remind it, y'all. Let me see. No, it's Michael. This is what your YouTubian dialytes is doing. Look at this. Speaking of DH, I just saw just a video of Dean's show with DH as a guest. You see? This is what they're doing. These are the waybadah that the Prophet ﷺ he warned us about. If it's not them, then what's a waybadah then? What is that? It's got to be them. It's got to be done. But I digress, family. Let's keep watching.
Celebrating the overthrowing of a tyrant like Bashar al-Assad, right? So Jake Shields tweets that, and he says, because Israel and Al-Qaeda worked together, they armed them and even treated their soldiers in Israeli hospitals. Ask too many questions and you will get the Candace Owens treatment. Candace Owens has now been, or at least she should be excommunicated from the truly pro-Palestinian front because she has said, oh no, she's, doing this sensationalism and spreading propaganda that all Christians in Syria are going to be slaughtered en masse. And we'll see that that's hopefully, inshallah, hopefully that's not the case. And there's been no evidence of that thus far. But we see Jake Shields, he's not celebrating Bashar being overthrown. We'll see very soon in a couple more posts that he's actually upset about it because it stops the great axis of resistance with Iran and the Shia militia groups and, all of these lies that the Shia and their Shia militia groups.
Yeah, we talked about this in great detail. There is no axis of resistance. We went into great detail about this in one of the lies. What slide was it? Y'all gonna have to remind me. It was recent too. We went into how basically since the 80s, the reason why you're getting these anemic responses between Israel and Iran, even though they might not like each other, there's a secret relationship between them, an arms relationship. Since the 80s, since the Iran-Contra affair, since the U.S. essentially started selling Iran arms and trade for hostages, and then using those monies to fund the Contras in Nicaragua, as well as using the narcotics, the cocaine and the crack and whatnot, bringing it into the U.S., selling it in black neighborhoods, and funding the Contras with that money as well. So they have a certain, plan that they have for Israel, which is kind of like geopolitically posture against Israel. But meanwhile, every move that they make, somehow it benefits Israel in some manner, right? In some manner, always benefits Israel, which is why when you see stuff happening with the Middle East, the best thing you can do, right, is not to say anything. Okay, make it dua for those people. To make dua for the people in the Middle East and Africa. You're talking about some serious devils here, right? Very serious devils. That are oppressing Muslims all over the world, oppressing Black folk all over the world. The system of white supremacy. But anyways, yeah, the axis of resistance is just like a whole fake type of thing. We went into detail about that. We went into detail about how Iran, essentially, when Hamas was created by Israel, mind you, Hamas was created by Israel, right? Iran's participation was to get Hamas to do suicide missions and get Hezbollah to do like a quasi-humanitarian type stuff. And Hezbollah will get the military training, and then Hamas will get the suicide mission training. Meanwhile, in Yemen, it's a totally different ballgame, right? They could have done what they did in Yemen in other places, but they didn't. And the reason why they didn't is because of this weird relationship they have with Israel. So I personally believe that, and I said this before, I'm going to say it one more again, that Iran is trying to get out of the mercenary business, which is why they are trying to get rid of Hezbollah. But they can't just you're not going to disband Hezbollah. So how do you do it? Right? Well, you get your enemies to do all this kind of nonsense, right? But I digress. That's neither here nor there. That's another topic for another day. That's a long, long, long thing. And, I'll have to bring receipts for that anyways, right? That's if I was to decide to get, which I probably won't, because YouTube has, so as most of you know anyways, they've been shadow banning my videos for talking about this stuff, right? So anyways, let's keep going, y'all.
And Iran have been the only ones actually supporting and helping the Palestinians. They're the only ones that have been doing it. So, no, the axis of resistance is falling. Oh my God. We shouldn't be happy about Bashar being overthrown and so many thousands of innocent prisoners being removed from the dungeness prisons that Bashar had set up, right? Those dungeons and prisons that were basically concentration camps. They were slaughterhouses. How many people he was killing out there? One woman famously said on Twitter, she went into one of these prisons at 19 years old, unmarried, a single Muslim woman, and 19 years old, she went into one of these prisons for doing nothing wrong. She comes out at 32 years old with 3 kids and doesn't know who their fathers are. Why? Because she was raped countless times. And you want us to be sad about this tyrant, this oppressor, Bashar, being overthrown? Are you kidding me? You're disgusting. You're not principled. You have no morals whatsoever, and we don't need any support from you. The hell with you. That's what we say. The hell with you and the people just like you, Jake Shields. We don't.
See, now, if YouTubians took this stance from the beginning, they wouldn't be having the problems that they're having right now. This person says, you are seriously out of your mind if you think Hamas was created by Israel. History mocks you. I know who this weirdo is, but we already dealt with this anyways. And yes, Hamas was actually started by Israel. They got an Egyptian, what's this guy's name? Something Yassin, I can't remember what it was. right? The whole point of them funding Israel is because they wanted to have a party to oppose the PLO and undermine the PLO at that time, which was Yasser Arafat. You wouldn't know anything about that because you probably a social media nut, right? So before you actually go and look up something that somebody says, you will comment first. But I digress. What was I saying? What my train of thought? If the YouTubians took this stance to begin with, you know, let us basically push our own voices and not depend on people who might have, at the very minimum, alternative motives. Very minimum. Then they wouldn't find themselves in this problem that they're in right now. But you cannot trust the vast majority of them. You cannot trust, you know, not a single one of them. You can't trust like the Dean Show. You can't trust them for sure, 100%. You can't trust Free Muslims, absolutely not. You cannot trust Muhammad Hijab, absolutely not. Definitely not Daniel Hagigatu. As a matter of fact, anybody who listens to Daniel Hagigatu, right, is going to have some serious brain damage. If you listen to him for a long period of time, you will talk a certain way, you will think a certain way, and it will have nothing to do with Islam whatsoever. At all. Okay? It'll have nothing to do with Islam whatsoever. One second, family. One second here. One second. I don't know where how these people find my channel. Look at this guy. I'm not a weirdo. Get some adab. I've heard of Muhammad. Have you heard about Muhammad al-Islamiyya? No lack of basic ilm. Okay. Why are these people here? I don't understand. Look at here. You're very welcome to watch. But like I said, you are behind, some screen, some computer somewhere, some typer. Nobody can see you, right? You're talking about majhul this and majhul that, and you're making some very grandiose claims. Okay, so let me just like end this real quick because we got time tonight, anyways. Okay, we got time tonight. I said that Israel created Hamas. You said no, they didn't. EU's Borrell says Israel financed creation of Gaza rulers Hamas. This is Reuters. But wait, there's more. Hold on one second. One second, Joe. Intercept. Blowback how Israel went from helping create Hamas to bombing it. But wait, there's more. See, I don't get it, man. Hold on. I'm not done yet. And the funny thing is that you can just go look. You don't have to make these grandiose comments, slow down the stream. All right. For what? For years, Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Now it's blown up in our faces. Times of Israel. The times of Israel. Why would they make that up? Okay. Why would they make that up? Anyways, family, let's go back to the live. Let us go back to the live, shall we? Let's get back to the nitty-gritty. Like, come on, family. Come on. We don't do that over here, right? Mind you, this is the Black Muslim grassroots. There's so many other places you can go troll. Why you come over here and troll? We don't do that over here. We don't like trolls. We don't respect trolls. As a matter of fact, the mods, they're pretty good with the trolls. They kick them out with the quickness, right? So, but anyways, let's keep watching, y'all. You see, it's easy to say anything when you're behind a keyboard. Nobody can see your face. Nobody knows who you are. You're just coming in and disturbing people's peace. For what? Just keep watching, y'all.
Want your support. And Muslims that are still supporting this loser after this should be ashamed of themselves. Let's go to the next piece of evidence. This is from a quoted tweet from CJ Werleman, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, hopefully I am, who seems to be a lot more principled than these pro-Palestinian grifters, and he's been calling them out, and rightly so. So he's quoting a tweet from Jake Shields, where Jake Shields is sharing a propaganda video claiming that it's the new rebels that have taken over, and this is a recent video where they are tying up and mistreating Christians and everything else. He says, these are the rebels who were armed by the CIA in Israel, meaning the current leadership in Syria, their current rebels. CJ says, another pro-Palestinian grifter, yeah, right, you got that right, buddy, spreading fake information via an Islamophobic account to dehumanize Syrians. Shame on everyone who amplifies this white supremacist asshole. Yes, I said it. And you're right, CJ. Shame on everyone who amplifies this white supremacist asshole. Jake Shields, because that's who he is. And Muslims who want to say, oh, Brother Jake, you shouldn't use that language. What? This guy who's spreading propaganda?
Okay, you see how Jake, he used this language? Right? I disagree with that. I disagree with Jake using this language. He should have said, Jake Shields, you white supremacist asshole, suck your daddy's knob. Okay? That's what he should have said. He should have added more to it. He should have added more to it. Okay? There is only one case that the Prophet ﷺ ever gave permission to use language like this. And it's exactly the way that Jake is using it right now. It's for people who have the racism in them. Racism, bigotry, prejudice. That's the only case. The Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith in Adab al-Mufrad that if you see somebody displaying what was displayed in the times of Jahiliyyah, meaning racism, prejudice, bigotry, these type of things, right? Then tell them to bite on their father's penis. And he said, don't give it a kunya, meaning don't sugarcoat it. That's the only case that the Prophet ﷺ ever gave permission to be harsh. And that's the only case during the life of the Prophet ﷺ that he was actually harsh consistently. Not one or two times, every time. But you have these bones and biscuits out here trying to make excuses for white supremacists. The only criticism I have of Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, in this particular instance is that he didn't go hard enough. Because the Prophet says, he said, don't give it a kunya, don't sugarcoat it. Tell him what it is. He used the language in its proper context. Anyways, let's keep watching, y'all. Let's keep watching, family.
When our brothers and sisters in Syria were being imprisoned, killed, displaced, and we should have light words for this guy? Oh yeah, no. You know, I should come up here. We should actually condemn Jake Shields because he's a bad guy. He hasn't been principled, and come on, man. And if you're looking for that, you're not going to find it on this channel, buddy. I'm sorry. That's not my MO. That's not how I get down. I'm not doing this for the camera. This is who I am. Like it, you don't, take it, leave it, whatever. This is my take. This guy is a white supremacist asshole. He doesn't deserve any respect from us whatsoever. And that's the lightest possible words I can give him at a time like this, when I'm seeing those videos of those slaughterhouses that they call prisons. And we should be upset about Bashar being overthrown? Are you kidding me? This kafir, this loser, this disgusting human being, all the atrocities committed at his hands, and the so-called axis of resistance. Get out of here. So, and then he says, who also incited violence against Muslims in recent UK riots, which is true as well. These people are not on our sides. They're not lovers of Muslims. They're not lovers of Islam. They're not principled even from a moral perspective. They sway with what happens in the news and what their, political compass tells them to say. That's it. They have a certain political agenda, and that's what their principle is. It's not genuine concern for humanity. And
there were some articles a few months ago where influencers were being bought for their political opinions. One of the big ones was on YouTube, a very big one. I can't remember his name. Maybe y'all can put it in the chat. It was a massive scandal where even Russia was involved. And they were paying these influencers to be pro-Trump. Okay, they were paying them to be pro-Trump. And we said just last night, actually, that the influencers now, they have actually surpassed the selling out that whatchamacallit, mainstream media has done for decades and years or whatnot. Because mainstream media, at least they would report news. They would report news, They would have their political leanings. You have Rupert Murdoch on the right, and then you have what's his name? Who's the guy in the name? The really rich guy. Maybe somebody can put the name in the chat. Right? They got, man, it's on the tip of my tongue, man. It's on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, the point is, that even influencers were coming on. Yeah, David Rubin was one of them. Yes, that's right. David Rubin was one of them. Lauren Chen, I believe, was one of them as well. That's right. These are huge, huge influencers. Huge influencers. And there's some others as well. Big, big, big channels. Okay? Shout out to Muhammad Al-Misri for that. Right? So, but anyways, the point is, their opinions were being bought and sold. Right. Recently, Anna Kasparian has been in a big scandal about that as well. Right. I don't know. Nobody knows if she's been bought or sold, but she took such a drastic turn that people suspect it. Okay. But now the influencer, now they've replaced the mainstream media, and they're far worse. We used to think mainstream media was bad. The alternative media, it used to be good, but now it's like Man, pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar for propaganda. You get me? So these guys, they do it, we know why they do it. Because you can make a pretty penny for pushing these talking points. That old white supremacist money goes a long way. And if you are articulate and if you can bring your points together in an articulate manner, then you will hit a very lofty bag pushing these white supremacist talking points. That's the Agenda 2025 things. Right? People think that they voted for Donald Trump. You didn't vote for Donald Trump. You voted for Agenda 2025. You essentially voted for the end of what you understand as democracy in the US. That those days are gone and now they're not coming back at all. Yeah, you're going to see some serious fitna in the West, right? But anyways, let's keep watching, y'all.
Removing of oppression and tyrants, or for concern for Muslims, for that matter. Let's go to the next piece of evidence here. Actually, I want to show you guys here a video refuting what Jake Shields is saying, where the Christians are actually celebrating in the streets at the removal of Bashar and the new leadership coming in Syria. Let's take a look. Wow, so the people are actually celebrating. The Christians are actually celebrating. This is from a few days ago on December 8th.
That would be expected anyways. That would be expected. The people in Syria in general would celebrate the fall of Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad, he's from a group called the Alawiyah, the Alawites, okay? Or the I think they're called Nusayb. Somebody put in the chat Nusaybi or Nusayd, or I can't remember. Right, but this is a very fringe cult. It's a cult, okay? You can't even call it a religious sect. It's a cult. And they're extreme. Okay? Very extreme. And they've been around for maybe, I think, if somebody can correct me on this, so you can fact check me this, I think they've been around for maybe 1,000 years. Okay? But y'all can fact check me on this, okay? Christians have been living in Sham, that region, right? Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, since even before the time of the Prophet ﷺ. They've always been living there, right? When Islam spread and when the Muslims took over, the Muslims allowed them to practice religion freely. The only times the Christians had any problems was when Christian crusaders came from Europe, okay, and tried to take over Palestine, right? The Holy Lands. That's the only time they had ever had problems. During the turn of the century, we saw the rise of Orientalism, right? And Orientalism really did a number, especially in Africa, in African countries, especially places like Sudan and Chad, and and also, of course, some places in the Middle East like Syria and whatnot, right? The Orientalism, but Orientalism really was a method to cause division between ethnic groups and religious groups and whatnot, to paint Islam in a certain light. And people use some Orientalist talking points up to this very day, right? We haven't been able to escape that. But the point is that in a 1948. Somebody can check this for me as well. I want to say 1948. I might be wrong. No. It's definitely wrong. I think 1958. I think it's 1958. Okay. I think it's 1958. But you could check me if I'm wrong. Somebody can look this up. You know how the Alawites came into power? Do you know how this happened? If you look throughout history, Syrian history, this Alawite group, they're on some coast in Syria. I can't remember the coast, right? But it's like maybe just about 1 million of them or so. Okay, it's not very big, right? And they live in one area specifically, and they are isolationist. And anybody that visited them always said the same thing about them. They're backwards people. They're highway robbers, no manners, all this kind of stuff. All throughout history, they're saying the same thing about these folks. Okay. Then colonization, does what it does, and eventually it reaches the Middle East after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. So France now, they end up in Syria. And they see the Sunnis, they see the Shia, they see the Christian, and they see these Alawites. Right? Now, when they first came there, they kind of treated everybody the same. We're going to try to colonize these people. We're going to basically fight these people, whatever. But when they learned about the Alawites, they realized that these folks were violent and aggressive and isolationist, and they can use them to carry out what they couldn't do for them. Nusayriya, right? They're Nusayriya, right? That's the name of them, right? Yeah, they're called Nusayris, right? From Muhammad Nusayr, right? The only reason why people call them Alawites now is because that started in the 1920s, I think it was. Because these same folks tried to basically mainstream themselves into Islam, because even the Shia were calling them kafir. Okay, that's how extreme they were. Okay, the Shia were calling them kafir. That's how extreme they were. Right? If a Shia calls you a kafir, you done messed up. Okay, you messed up. Okay, but I digress. So what they did, what the French did, is that they armed the Alawis. They armed a small group of people. Remember, they've been isolationists for centuries. Okay, they live in the small coast in Syria somewhere, and here comes the French army with their technology, with their armaments, weaponry, whatever, and their training. They trained and they armed these people. And then they took over the entire country. And guess who was the colonel during this time in this army, this Alawite army? Who wants to take a wild guess who was a colonel at this time and eventually use this training to become a lifelong president of the country? Anybody want to guess? Put it in the chat, please. Anybody want to guess? Somebody put in the chat, please. So it was the French, once again, Europeans as usual, okay? White supremacists as usual, colonizers as usual, with their divide and conquer tactics. This is their MO. This is what they've always done for the better part of 400 to 500 years. There we go. Here we go. Sister Tika, she's found something. The Alawites started cooperating with the French in 1922, and Assad, thank you, was a general in 1970. Which Assad is that, family? Which Assad is that? Does anybody know which Assad that was in 1970? Assad Senior, yes, Bashar al-Assad. No, half of Assad, sorry, half of Assad, Bashar's son. Half of Assad. Bashar's father. That's why you have an Alawite control of the country, because of the French. Don't get it mixed up. Don't get it twisted. It's the same players all of the time. It hasn't changed for the better part of 500 years. And then you got your YouTubian elites running defense for these folks. Your YouTubian downward elites can't stop twitching and twirling and twerking for white supremacists. They can't stop doing it. They are just as treacherous as the people that they talk about. They invite the people who cause all this chaos in the Muslim countries to their platforms, the mouthpieces for these white supremacists, to have dialogue. There's nothing to dialogue. We're enemies. Class. Finish. So you have Hafez Assad, the first president of Syria, and Bashar al-Assad, the second president of Syria. Both of them are Alawites. So they're not Muslim. They weren't Muslim to begin with. Both of them come from a culture of high decadence from that cult. It's a cult. It is a cult. Call it what it is today. It's not no sect. It's not no religion. It's an actual cult. They are not expansionist in any way, shape, or form. They don't even believe in the Quran. Okay? Let's just keep it a buck. They don't read the Quran. You get me? Don't be confused about these people. They were evil before they were given power. And when they were given power, all they did is empower their evil. And that's exactly what the French wanted. That's exactly what the French wanted. The results that Bashar al-Assad produced and the results that Hafez al-Assad produced, that's what they wanted the entire time. So when people start talking about, you know, Shia death squads and Shia militias and all that kind of stuff, of course Bashar al-Assad will be all down with that. Are you kidding me? Bashar and Hafez. You're not talking about people who make salat. You're not talking about people who pray. They don't pray. They don't even call the adhan. Look at their history. You don't have to believe me. Just go research their history, research their cult. They don't call the adhan. They don't read the Quran. They were illiterates before the French came. Uneducated, backwards people, isolationist. So you can imagine empowering uneducated, backwards, isolationists. What could possibly go wrong? But anyways, let's keep watching, y'all. We got time. So let's keep watching, y'all.
Syrian Christians in the streets are celebrating at the removal of Bashar, his tyrannical.
And they would celebrate because an Alawite was ruling over them. Of course they would. It's the equivalent of, like, for example, for the black folk who know, it's the equivalent of, for example, the US government arming and empowering and giving military training to Dwight York to become the leader of black folk in America. What could possibly go wrong? Okay. or maybe a Hebrew Israelite. If the American government decided, we are going to train in military tactics, the whatchamacallit, the United in what is it? United in Jesus Christ, whatever, ICUCJ something, whatever. That that crazy, those Israelites. What could possibly go wrong with that? What do you think they would do if they had political power, military power, and monetary power over black folks in the West? What do you think would happen? You think something could possibly go wrong? It would be the same thing. It would be exactly the same thing. You would see them doing what these Alawites did in Syria. They would do the same thing to black folk here. They would be building jails, concentration camps for Christians, Muslims, black Christians, black Muslims explicitly. They outwardly express, the Israelites, they express the desire in public, on megaphone, to kill babies and stuff. Just like what they're doing in Israel. We put that out there as well. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You can relate to that. That is exact what happened. If that happened here, that's exactly what happened in Syria. The French government armed, trained militarily, a hostile cult, backwards cult, uneducated cult. And then that happened. You think they were just imprisoning Sunni Muslims? Right? Is that what you think was going on? No. They were killing Christians. They were killing even Shia. They were killing everybody. The vast majority of the government was whatchamacallit, was these Alawites. The vast majority. Through nepotism. So Sister Tika, she says, the French are some evil people, man. How many nations they tried to destroy and have been successful in the destruction? Non-white people. They are amongst the worst of white people. It's not just them. It's not just them. You have the Portuguese doing the same thing. You had the British doing the same thing. You have the Spanish doing the same thing. Read what's going on in Argentina. Read what went on in Mexico with Africans in Mexico. And the reason why that is not because they're French, it's not because they're British, it's not because they're the Portuguese, it's because they have built the system of white supremacy. And even though there are some differences in how they practice white supremacy, the ultimate goal is always the same. On the top of this white supremacy hierarchy, you have what they classify as white people, and at the bottom as black people. Let's keep watching, yo.
Regime and the replacement with Sunni leadership. They're happy about that. They're celebrating in the streets. For them, it's actually a Christmas gift. It's an early Christmas present. People know December 25th is the date of Christmas. And I'm not saying here, of course, as a Muslim, I don't celebrate Christmas. But these Syrian Christians are celebrating at the removal of Bashar as if it was Christmas morning with their friends and family. That's what they're doing. They're not actually coming out with the propaganda of people like Candace Owens and Jake Shields and even Ben Shapiro, who's a Zionist Jew, hater of Muslims, coming forward and saying, oh yeah, the Christians are going to be slaughtered en masse. And if that happens, guys, and if it's proven to happen, Muslims should be the first people to condemn it, because it goes against Islamic law to just completely kill all of these innocent Christians like that. We don't.
Never happened in history anyways. Never. The closest thing that does happen was the situation in Sudan, and that was a totally fake situation anyways, because all of that was instigated by British Christian Orientalists and NGOs and whatchamacallit, those missionaries. And up until this day, the Sudanese are suffering from that for 100 years now. They're suffering from the presence of British Christians who ended up in Sudan. And they are the ones who caused the strife between the Muslims and the Christians in the Sudan. It was British who classified the Muslims as Arab. Okay, they're the ones who classified the Sudanese as Arab and the Muslims as Arab and the non-Muslims as Black Africans. They did that. If you look at both of them, they ain't no difference. They do all this stuff. Anyways, let's keep watching, yo.
Wouldn't support that whatsoever. So we would rightly come out and condemn them alongside principled people. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to preemptively condemn them and display propaganda videos that are not accurate and genuine to what's happening right now and say, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen to all of the Christians. They're going to be slaughtered en masse. That's the propaganda that people like Jake Shields wants you to believe, but it's not true. And the Syrian Christians are celebrating because they have been part of the victims of the oppression, tyranny at the hands of people like Bashar and his regime. They're happy that he's gone. Stop with the propaganda. And
don't let Dan Hakikachu hear that. Oh, you got a victim mentality. Why do you have such a victim mentality, brother? Don't let like all these numbnuts hear what Jake just said. Stop having this victim mentality. That's the new catchphrase for these white supremacists. Why do you have a victim mentality? Sure, we are oppressing you and killing you and stealing your children and whatever. But why do you have a victim mentality? Pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
and deal with the facts on the ground. And let's remind the audience of what we showed at the beginning. Jake Shields admitted he doesn't know anything about Syria. So why is he talking about it? He should shut his fat mouth before somebody shuts it for him, because he's into MMA, and we have a lot of Muslim brothers and sisters out there. So if you keep talking and running your big fat mouth, maybe somebody will just come around and shut that for you. I don't know. Doesn't have to be me. Could be somebody else. But just like we saw what happened with Floyd Mayweather, did you guys see that recent clip? Floyd Mayweather was in, I think, the UK, somewhere in the UK, in England, and people were ready to pounce on him. Now, I'm not actually saying that people should be pouncing on him in the street. I'm not saying that. But I'm warning people like Jake Shields and Floyd Mayweather, these big, bad, tough guys. They think they're so tough, but then when it comes down to it, they have to run. They have to have their big, bad bodyguards defend them. And the reason why, and I'm not, again, defending the mob mentality, but I'm saying the honest reality is if these people continue to talk like this, they could face consequences of being attacked in public. And I'm not actually saying that Muslims should go around doing this, but it is the reality that it may actually happen. So be careful what you say and actually turn around, and you should be on the right side of history, be more principled, and not have these ridiculous propaganda takes that you're coming up with. People want more evidence if that wasn't enough.
That's too much to ask for the devil anyways. Never ask a devil to be on the right side of history. Okay? If somebody's very clearly an enemy of Allah, you know, an enemy of anything that is good and righteous, never ever beg them to be righteous. Treat them exactly as they are. Treat them like the enemy. These people are not hiding anymore. They're becoming bolder and bolder and bolder. And they're bolder on some of the most wicked ideologies known to man. We saw in the beginning how Myron Gaines, aka Amru Fadl, said that racism is good. And did not Amru Fadl, wasn't he not the the moderator for some Christian Muslim debate with Daniel Hakikachu, white supremacist Daniel Hakikachu, the Ayatollah Daniel Hakikachu, Ayatollah Hakikachu family.
Stop the cap.
It's Ayatollah Hakikachu.
No bullshit, bro.
Ayatollah Hakikachu family. For now on, we're just gonna call him the Ayatollah. The amount of excuses this closet Shia made for the axis of resistance. And guess where Ayatollah Hakikachu is ending up? 1 second, fam. Let me show y'all. One second, family. Y'all want to see? Look at that, y'all. Look at that, y'all. Who is this funny looking fella? Who is this funny looking Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures Cheech and Chong enthusiast? What's another one? Half Baked. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Because it's Friday and we got nothing else to do. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Who is this funny looking fella? Who is this guy? Look who he with now. Y'all can't make this up, man. Y'all cannot make this up, family. Can y'all still hear me? I don't know what just happened now. I don't know if we said a little bit too much or what. Funny down Pikachu has a victim mentality about real white people calling him out, but not being white supremacists say they would enslave him too. You know what I'm saying? This dude is a piece of work, family. He is a totally piece of work. Yeah, it's A from the Dean Show. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Excellent! Because it's Friday nothing to do, man. Puff give. Puff give. Eddie. These folks, man. Links in the chat if anybody want to hop in. Let me just put it back in there one more again. Links in the chat if anybody want to hop in. Just keep watching, y'all. Let's keep going on.
Enough about Jake Shields. Let's take a look at this. This is from another pro-Palestinian grifter, Ryan Dawson. So everybody stop following him, stop supporting him, leave him by the wayside. He's another pro-Palestinian grifter. You see this at the top here? It says what? Jake Shields reposted this. So he largely agrees with what is about to follow. The worst possible scenario is happening. One, Hezbollah and the resistance exhausted all their power alone to help Sunni Palestinians stop Israel, while Sunni countries did nothing. Number two, after all the fighting, the Sunnis in Turkey and elsewhere stabbed the resistance in the back, the great axis of resistance. And we know who people we've exposed on here who claim to be Sunni. We've exposed them many times before of being supporters of this so-called fake axis of resistance, when all they're responsible for is mostly slaughtering Sunnis, these Shia militia groups in Iran and so on and so forth. And then he says in number three,
you know, I lived in Yemen for 6 months, right? When I was, in the Maj and whatnot. And I saw my from experience what these folks did. When I was in Sana'a, there was, in Sana'a, in Yemen, an Iranian cultural center.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye. Do you understand?
And this place was huge. When I was trying to leave the match, the day I was trying to leave, a whole war broke out in Saada. A whole thing. Because the Houthis, who were trained by, Iranians, tried to take over the country. The only person that was able to keep that place stable was Ali Abdullah Saleh, the dictator. Okay? Right? He had them under manners. When the Arab Spring happened, you seen the end results of that. The Shia of Yemen historically have been Zaidi. They were always Zaidi, right? But the Iranian influence made them Rafidi. And they tried to spread the influence in Syria and Lebanon and whatnot with Hezbollah, all that kind of stuff, right? It's a whole big thing. A whole big thing, right? But the point is, anybody who's talking about axis of resistance is one or two types of people, right? Very, very ignorant. They don't know. Or they are truly intent on destroying, Quran and Sunnah. Because that's all they do. Their whole religion is about, basically taking out Sunnis and stuff. Rafida Shia, that's the whole religion. The whole religion is about ending anything Sunni. But I digress. Just keep watching, y'all.
3, Russia is now evacuating Syria and it seems unsavable. Oh my God, it's not savable. They cannot take on Turkey, and with the Kurds squatting on their oil protected by Americans, the Syrians cannot pay soldiers salaries. Listen to this, these Salafist apes have disconnected Iran from Hezbollah, perfectly to Israelis' state policy papers, which says we can use these apes to
Infiltrators is appropriate, Muhammad al-Misri. Those folks who are talking about axis of resistance and the Shia and all that kind of nonsense is this weird stuff. This really, really weird stuff. Right? You can consider them infiltrators as well. You know, there's no doubt in my head that Dan Geach is an infiltrator. No doubt. I have no problem saying it. Right? I will go on Yom Qiyamah saying it. I have no issue saying it at all. He's an infiltrator. What else can you call him? You get me? He's the only one I actually openly said that about. He is absolutely, without a doubt, an infiltrator. You get me? The evidence is just overwhelming now. He's very sloppy with his infiltration. But what it is that Muslims, they love him so much, they don't really care. They love their infiltration. So let them do them. Just keep watching, y'all.
To fight the resistance for us. Now he goes on and continues on with his propaganda, but he's calling the Syrian rebels, the new current Syrian leadership, he's calling them Salafist apes. He's calling Salafis apes. And this is who Jake Shields is reposting. So Jake Shields believes that Salafis are apes. The Syrian rebels are Salafist apes. That's what he believes. So all you Salafis out there, or people who claim to be Salafis, or even those who claim to be Sunnis more broadly, because you're not Shia in that sense. All of you people out there, why would you support this guy? Do you hate Salafis too? You want to call all Salafis apes and call the new Syrian rebels who actually did jihad and took over the land? Rightly so. You want to call them apes? Okay, if that's your take on it, then go ahead and you can continue to support shills like Ryan Dawson and Jake Shields. Now, lastly, I want to show you guys some irony, right, from Jake Shields, and then we're going to move on to one last grifter who I've exposed before, but this video is too clear to pass up on. But take a look at this. Look at this irony. Jake Shields quote tweeting something posted by Sneeko's update page where it says Sneeko calls out streamers who used Jake Future, this guy, I don't know too much about him, but so I don't want to comment on it, for content, but didn't even bother to show up for his birthday party. Okay, sad situation, right? Jake Shields quote tweets that and says, the majority of streams, I think he meant to say majority of streamers, are fake and will only be your friend when it benefits them. Wow.
I mean, this is sad on so many levels. Because first of all, y'all know that his career is pretty much done, right? Sneeko is like his career is pretty much over. The only reason why he has a career, it's continuing, is because of Muslims. Which is sad in of itself, right? And Sneeko's trying to salvage his career, which is why he made such a hard turn back to normalcy. But his reputation is already ruined. No advertisers will touch him, right? He can't make money on YouTube. He wasn't making money on Rumble like he expected. He went over there to Kick, and he got banned every single week. And the reason why he got banned so often is because of his reputation. And people are leaving Kick like crazy. He's not going to make money on Twitch unless he decides to, become a gamer. And the only audience that habitually lets him back in are these friggin' immigrant kids. Okay?
Bombastic side eye.
Every single time.
Criminal offensive side eye. Do you understand?
Despite all the madness that this moron has done, and they let him in because YouTubian elites keep somehow trying to massage their algorithms with his presence.
Damn!
It's comical what's going on with Sneeko. Every stream he does, he's rizzing up some chick. And now he's going to be doing some lecture with Uthman Farouk again. But I digress. Sneaker calls out streamers who used Jake Future for content but didn't bother to show up for his birthday party. This is where we've come to now. Muslims all over the world are pushing this guy so they can push some kafir's birthday party. This is so sad. This is so sad. What did Sneeko say the other day about Muslims and stuff like that? That Muslims are not my only community and America first and all kind of craziness. Anyways, let's keep watching, y'all.
Streams, I think he meant to say majority of streamers, are fake and will only be your friend when it benefits them. Wow, the irony, Jake, because you are one of these fake streamers. You are one of these fake so-called pro-Palestinians. You are one of these pro-Palestinian grifters who's not principled, who only wants to be the friend of Muslims when it fits your agenda, when it benefits you financially or your status and popularity and fame. So wow, oh my God, the irony in you quote tweeting this, because it fits you perfectly. You are a fake, you're a fraud, you're a phony, and you only want to befriend the Muslims when it benefits you. And the Muslims need to wake up. How many times do we need this to happen? With Candace Owen, with Jake Shields, with this guy who we're going to see in just a few moments, Lucas Cage, with all of these different people. How many damn times?
Jordan Peterson. Who else, family? Mark Collette. Who else? Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Benjamin Owens, Sneeko, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate. All of these guys eventually, and we said anyway, we said it so many times, they will eventually turn on the Muslims. And all these folks turned on the Muslims. All of them turned on the Muslims. The Muslims invited them, and they all turned on the Muslims. YouTubian elites, the Ruwaybada. Call them what they are today, Ruwaybada. Keep going, family.
Do we need to see it happen for Muslims to wake up and stop supporting these people so soon after they come out and seem like they say one nice word about Islam or Muslims? Just notice it on your timeline.
Thank you. Thank you. All these guys got to do is say some 1-2 nice words about Islam and hey, can you come on my podcast? White supremacist, family. Actual white supremacist. Actual racist. But anyways, y'all, it's really, 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 really late. Okay. I want to thank everybody who participated tonight. And inshallah, I'm pretty sure I'm going live tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Inshallah. If not, then I will see you next Thursday, inshallah. And subhanallah, hamdik wa shadallah ant wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. And free the land, beloved, free the land, free the land, free the land.